Wednesday night, September 11th. I was driving home from work. It's about 7 o'clock, and it was pouring with rain. And I drove home that night, and we have a lot of skylights in our house, and it was so loud inside the house because it was raining so hard. And about 11:30, I was getting ready for bed, and we heard the gulch let go, and it sounds like a freight train coming through town. Our large park, which has 3 old mine tailings ponds. The big one, the first one, is our town park. Our community has worked really hard over the years to obtain grants to put a cap on the top of that park, a soil cap, in order for it to be safe for our community. Now our park was falling into the creek. One day, Paul turns up, and I don't know who Paul is, but he tells me he's here and he's gonna fix our park.
And we started up here with our sort of traditional mission. The floods affected Boulder, Larimer, Will County, a lot of the Front Range of Colorado. And I was assigned with a few other OSCs to Boulder County. And we started setting up to do our fairly traditional missions: hazmat recovery, orphan tank recovery, household hazardous waste, some assistance with debris management. And that took us up into some of the mountain communities like Jamestown here. So we're sitting on a fluorite mill and mining process that operated here through World War II. But there's about 6 million cubic yards of fluorite tailings. It has all the traditional mine waste, heavy metals, those kinds of contaminants. And during the floods, the stream moved over about 100 yards, jumped out of the channel and began cutting into this pile. So they probably lost 30 to 50,000 cubic yards of tailings downstream. That's problematic for a number of reasons. There's obviously water quality issues, but the left-hand water district, which supplies water to Boulder County, city of Boulder, Niwot, some of the other communities, has an intake about 2.5 miles downstream from here.
Paul and his crew came up, and we met, and he said, we're gonna lay this back 2-to-1 slope, and I didn't know what that meant at the time. I now do. I said, well, we've already lost so much of our park. Do you think rather than laying it back, we could build it out? And that would also help us save the tennis court, because the tennis court was right on the edge of being lost.
The town of Jamestown had invested a lot of money and time and effort and love and heart into the park. This was something that was sort of dear to them, more so than just a repository for tailings and mine waste. It had become part of their infrastructure. And so one of the things that we wanted to make sure we did is we started doing our repairs. First mission is repair the tailings, make it structurally sound, keep the hazardous substances from washing down the stream. But it was of more value than that to the community. And so we started designing what the tailings pile would look like, that we can incorporate some of those features that they desired. Well, it was pretty easy to put a walking path and incorporate that into our design, and then build steps down our slope so that people got to use the park after we were done. The community had spent a whole bunch of money on revegetating, on grassing this place, and we're up at about 8,200 feet elevation. It's hard to get grass to grow. They were very concerned as we were doing our repairs, we would destroy the re-veg efforts that they had put up and down this corridor. And so, it's those kinds of things that we could build into our operations, into our design for how we rehab the park.
Anybody else might have just laid it back. He built it out. Anybody else might have just done a straight line, and he tried to keep it as natural as possible. He would come up and work with us every day, came up and asked our opinions, would be open any time that we came down there and made any suggestions. But most importantly, he just did it all with such a huge heart and brought so much of his team to help him with all of these repairs.
My crew, my ERS contractors, at lunchtime, they're down building a walking path. The other OSCs, I have the carpenter skills of an ape, but Marty McComb, is quite the carpenter. He's building benches on his free time. everybody started contributing at that individual level because you saw the community needed help.
They were doing such beautiful work down there, and they were doing such great work so quickly that we wanted them to do all of the debris cleanup in our stream. So we had tons and tons of construction debris and woody debris, big logs, trees, full trees with root wads still on them. We discussed it with Steve and with Paul. And so for the next several weeks, they did all the cleanup. And they did it with such care and pride. We all have opinions, but in a small community, people tend to share them more loudly. And I never heard a single complaint about the work that the EPA did. Their passion for what they do and doing such a beautiful job at what they do, and their compassion for the people that they're helping really taught me that it's not what we think they are. It's not government officials that want to just impose regulations. It's people that are coming up here and really wanting to help.